John, the film starts off very much as a kind of lyrical fairy tale. It's incredibly soft, and then you get into a kind of real visceral world where actually a lot of dreadful things happen to this wonderful creature, or are potentially going to happen to this wonderful creature. And I wonder, who is the film for?
Oh, well, I mean, I think it's finding its audience. People are watching it and loving it. Director Bong is so great that he can do all of these kind of crazy tonal shifts where at some point it's like a kind of children's movie, like a kind of beguiling kind of fable, and then it becomes incredibly dark and upsetting. And I think it's appealing to all of those people, although I wouldn't say it should be watched by young children because it gets incredibly brutal and dark later on.
It does, and it does pack a punch. But I wonder, is it a straightforward campaigning film, do you think, or is it actually much more nuanced about human feelings?
Oh, it's not a polemic. It's not a campaigning film. What it is, most of all, I hope, is a beautiful film. It's kind of enchanting and disturbing and dark and entertaining, and you know, so I think we kind of valued aesthetics over ideology. However, it's a really dark film, and it ends up in a kind of slaughterhouse for magical animals, and so as a consequence, I think a lot of people are going to become vegetarians imminently.
Now, is that actually the kind of, you know, you say it's not a campaigning film, but if you look at a number of the other films I mentioned earlier, which are Hollywood movies, the kind of inexorable drive is towards vegetarianism. Is that what you think is really the message of the film?
It's not the message of the film. I think it's a kind of inevitable consequence of the film. I guess, I mean, one of the messages of the film, I think, is about cognitive dissonance. You know, we trick ourselves into kind of believing that the meat that we eat has got nothing to do with the pets that we love, but we kind of know that pigs are just as adorable and smart as dogs, and so to eat the meat, you need to see inside the slaughterhouse. And Director Bong has what's so amazing about this film, I think, is that Director Bong has made a scene inside a slaughterhouse which most other directors would make, grotesque or off-putting. He's made it haunting and beautiful.
Yeah, but it is absolutely visceral. I mean, we mustn't shy away from that. I mean, much more so than any of these Hollywood movies. And it's interesting to me that Netflix has made this. What do you make of that?
Well, no one else would have made this. This is a $50 million movie. Half of it's in Korea, and it ends up in these kind of incredibly dark places with these huge tonal shifts. No studio would have allowed Bong to do this, but Netflix did. And I think it's, Netflix, I think, is giving auteurs freedom and money in a way that Hollywood has rarely done since the great days of early Scorsese and Woody Allen and Bonnie and Clyde. This is like a golden time for auteurs.
A golden time for auteurs, an auteur that actually, in a way, in this film, in a sense, celebrates direct action.
Yeah, well, we've got an animal liberation front in this film, but they're not entirely heroic. They're kind of stupid at times, and they're slapsticky. One character is so determined not to leave a carbon footprint on the earth that he's given up eating entirely, so he keeps
there are very
fainting.
funny moments in it.
So they're not a kind of entirely heroic group. The baddies in this film aren't entirely bad, and the goodies aren't entirely good, just like humans. We're all kind of grey areas.
Jon Ronson, thank you very much indeed.